Happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fresh Hope for a Better You. As always, I'm your host, Oliver Glay, and I'm here to bring you some fresh hope for your day. Once again, I always start off the show by just expressing gratitude for all the listeners that tune in every single week. And you guys have shown me that you guys really do enjoy these guests that I'm bringing on. And today, I have a very special guest. He is an amazing person overall, and I had the honor of actually seeing him speak a few weeks ago at Unite and Conquer. And I'll just say this. He not only made me tear up and cry, but there wasn't a soul in that room that didn't tear up and cry because of how powerful this man's speech was and just how he delivered it. So I'm super excited to welcome aboard Westley. Westley is a motivational speaking and life coach. Westley was actually just voted this past year the LV most influential man of 2023. And after hearing him speak, I can definitely say it was well earned. And it's just overall, this dude is just crushing it in the speaking space and just helping people. His story is absolutely incredible. He went from selling waters on the street for $1, and then he went to the Olympics as a massage therapist. It is just phenomenal to be able to have had the opportunity to see this man speak, and I'm super grateful for him being on here to share his story with us. So welcome aboard, Wesley.
Let's go, baby. Thank you. I'm excited to be here, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Wesley?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, let me just say that congratulations to you on your journey. I know your journey. I've researched you and look, congrats, man. It's not easy to change. And I always say that, it's not the change that's painful, it's our resistance to it. So well done, my friend. Well done.
Thanks, brother.
As for me, that speaking engagement that we met at, it was incredible. And that was probably one of my top 5 performances, definitely. Just because Brad is so near and dear to my heart. It was in my hometown, and look, that was a vision that Brad Modrich, who, if you don't know him, you got to check him out. That was a vision that he's had for years. So to see him bring that to light, it was an honor. It was an honor to share the stage with him, to be there and to pour into the attendees. A little bit about me was I was born to be a farm boy, right? That's what I was bred to be, right? And I still love it. I still enjoy the farm life. I go there often. It's a interesting environment that produces a work ethic like I've never seen in any other individual, like I have in people that grow up around the farm. And at 9 months old, my mom, left my dad, and we moved to the closest thing that was the city. At which point, I grew up in that environment, and I thought I had a normal life. I played football, baseball, wrestling, had all the materialistic things that a kid could ever want. But I realized that something was different about myself and my family at 12 years old. At 12 years old, I came home from wrestling practice, and the state police detectives had my whole house surrounded. And I'm standing on the sidewalk. I'm scared. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. And I see my mother, my heart, my everything get carried out in handcuffs. That's the day that I found out that my mother was running a prostitution ring out of her massage therapy company. And I was crushed, bro. I mean, devastated. I felt like my whole life was a lie. Went to school the next day, and all the kids made fun of me, and I developed a low self-esteem as a result. I turned to drugs and alcohol at the age of 12 years old, and by the time I was 15, I had my first DUI. At 16, my sister turned our house into a crack house. There's people having sex in my bed. There's people smoking crack in the kitchen. There's people shooting dope in the bedroom. And one day I come home, and I'm looking for my sister, and I can't find her. So I knock on the bathroom door. No response. I kick open the door, and there's my sister dead on the floor. She was blue in the face. She was unresponsive. She had a needle sticking out of her arm. She had overdosed on fentanyl. And I gave her CPR resuscitation, and I saved her life that day. Last year, she just graduated with her bachelor's degree. 1 minute difference, and she would have been gone, right? And that's how precious life is. So by the time I was 19, I had 3 DUIs and 7 underage drinking charges. I lost my license for 22 years in the state of Pennsylvania. Just a wild kid, bro. I had no regard for human life, yours or mine. So I made a decision to move to Philadelphia, and I found myself a homeless heroin addict in North Philadelphia, selling bottles of water for $1 a piece, bro. I was 50 pounds less than I am right now. I was malnourished. I was dehydrated. And I had abscesses up and down my arms. I had to defecate on the public sidewalk in front of people, bro. I was a shell of a man. Look, it's one thing to have a problem, but it's a whole nother thing not to be able to talk to anybody about it as a result of the shame and guilt that you feel as a result of what your life has become, man. I know that you know how that feels, bro. It's like, I don't want these results. I don't want to be this person anymore, but I don't know how to stop. And I feel as though I can't talk to anybody because society puts this shame and guilt on us. I don't know where it comes from. And therefore I'll just stay in my shitty mess. So one day, my mom walks in on me in the bathroom about to stick a needle in my arm. And the pain in her eyes was more than I could handle, bro. It just the look in her eyes and the pain and the fear. And I dropped to my knees and I prayed like I've never prayed before in my life. And it was the most humble prayer that I've ever said. And it was, please, God, help me, bro. And in that moment, I made a new decision. That's our gift from God. My dog can't be anything but a dog. The squirrel can't be anything but a squirrel, bro. But human beings, we have the ability to discern and to make a decision. That's our gift from God. So if you don't like your life, if you don't like the results that you're getting, if you don't like your circumstances, you get to make a new decision. And that's what I did. I made a new decision. And when you make a new decision, that means I am going to cut off any and every other opportunity except where I'm going to be successful. It's either die or succeed. And when it's either die or succeed, we tend to succeed. So the hardest part is really just making that decision of I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to succeed, man. And that's exactly what I did. I made a decision that I will never, ever go back to drugs and alcohol, man. I don't know why I say drugs and alcohol. Alcohol is a drug. It's just socially acceptable, man. But we seem to think that there's a difference. So I made a decision that I'm never going back to that lifestyle ever again. I don't care if I don't have $1 to my name, if my wife leaves me, if my dog dies, no matter what happens, I'm never going back to that ever. And that's the decision that I made 12 years ago. And then I made another decision that I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to achieve my dreams, man. And that's what I did. So I in 2013, I was an ironworker welder. I was making $80,000 a year, right? I had the girl, she was down to do whatever. I'm driving without a license. I got an apartment. I have all the materialistic things that I thought that I wanted, but I'm miserable, bro. How could I have everything that I thought that I wanted, but I'm ready to put a bullet in my brain? And at 27 years old, I realized that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. You can never fix a spiritual void with a physical thing, bro, no matter how hard you try. So I did the craziest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I walked away from it all. If you can't walk away from it, you don't own it. It owns you. If you can't put it down, you don't own it. It owns you.
That's some real shit right there. For the audience, you need to re-listen to that last, 30 seconds, because that is the realest shit I've heard in a long time right there.
Yo, for real. And I don't care what it is. If you can't put it down and be okay, you don't own it. It owns you. So here I am, just walked away from security of working for somebody else, told the girl she's got to go, told the landlord I got to go, and I sold my car after driving without a license for 9.5 years, bro. Everybody looks at, damn, you lost your license for 22 years. And then one day my boy goes, man, I'm more impressed that you drove without one for 9.5. I was like, you got a point there. I think that's it. So I was, I said, for once in my life, man, I'm going to do everything right. I've always cut corners. I've always wanted the maximum benefits with the least amount of work. I've always been that guy, right? How can I get to my dreams, my goals without doing the work? And at 28 years old, I said, for once in my life, I'm going to do everything right. And if it doesn't work out, I'll go back to the old way. But for once, I'm just going to try. And that's what I did, man. I started riding a bicycle. Dude bought me a bicycle for $100. Here I am. I'm living in a recovery house next to a 70-year-old guy named Frank who had killed 2 people. He had 2 bodies on him. He was a gangster, bro. Old man Frank. He was cool. But he murdered 2 people in his lifetime in an alcoholic rage. And I'm riding a bicycle. I got no car, no job, no girlfriend. I have no materialistic things to attach to my identity. All I had was 2 bags of clothes and a prayer, man. And when you feel like your life is falling apart, bro, how do you know it's not all coming together, man? Rock bottom is a great place to begin to build your life, man. It's a great foundation. And I'm so grateful for my rock bottom moments. And so I start riding a bicycle. I'm 30 years old at this time. And bro, in my head, everything is saying, yo, look, they're laughing at you, bro. Look at you. You're riding a bicycle. You're 30 years old. They're laughing at you. Oliver, I promise you to this day, dude, I don't know who they are.
I don't think anyone knows who they are.
If you ever meet them, tell them I'm looking for them, bro. Yeah. I don't know who they are. The they is the 6 inches in between my ears that keeps me from my dreams, man. It's your inner dialogue. So here I am riding a bicycle, and I get this message that I choose to call God at this point. And it says, go help your mom. Go help my mom. Bro, I'm a 6 foot tall ironworker welder with big ego and, construction worker, farm dude, hunts, that spent time in North Philadelphia. You want me to go rub dudes' backs? What are they going to think? Go help your mom, man. But I got a low self-esteem. Go help your mom. Let me tell you a side story about my mom. My mom got arrested for running a prostitution ring in 1997 in a small town. It was the most embarrassing thing that I've ever seen anyone go through. And that woman stuck it out and fought and did the right thing, right? And did legitimate massage therapy after that. got rid of all them girls, and did the right thing, bro. While a whole town ridiculed her and blackballed her. 3 years later, the year 2000, she's fighting it out, grinding it out, showing up every day, having a good attitude. She says, "Hey, Wes, I want you to meet somebody." So I sit at the desk and I look to my left. There's Donovan McNabb, the head quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. My mom went on to be the head massage therapist for the Philadelphia Eagles from 2000 to 2012 because she never ran, because she fought it out, because she didn't run. So when God told me to go help my mom on a bicycle, I rode 8.5 miles with no business experience whatsoever to go build my family business and make sure nobody ever called my mom a whore ever again, bro. That was my why. I didn't want to build a big business. I wanted to make sure motherfuckers never talk shit about my mom ever again. That was my motivation. That was my why. And when you have a why so strong that you will do whatever it takes, success is inevitable. So I never wanted to flex on social media or post all this shit or have money on a screen. This was my family name. So I rebranded. I showed up every day. I invested in leadership. I invested in personal development, and I grew that business from 40,000 a month to 40,000, from 40,000 a year to 40,000 a month. Employed 12 therapists at one time, doing incredible things, $500,000 a year. And one day I'm being of service, which means that I go out into the community and I'm doing chair massage, and I donate all the proceeds to the high school track and field team. And during that event, this woman comes up into my tent to get a chair massage. Tall, beautiful, athletic looking woman. She says, "Oh, this is great. I love massage." Well, I said, "That's what I do." And when I put my hands on her, I realized that there's something special about this woman. You got to understand, I put my hands on thousands of people. I can tell. So I do a little Google search. Turns out her name's Joetta Clark. She's a 4-time Olympic athlete. Her father was Joe Clark. If you've ever seen the movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman, that was her real dad. She's got a daughter named Talitha Diggs, who's now a world champion in the 400 meter. I'm on Team Talitha. So I literally went from selling bottles of water in the middle of the street, bro, for $1 a piece, and losing my license for 22 years to go into the Olympics and working with the NFL, PGA, and some of the most influential people in the world. All because I changed my standards and my self-image, man. Here's another story real quick. I built that business up $500,000 a year, right? I'd never tasted success. There's never been anything positive associated with the public eye and Westley Morris, right? I've never been that guy. I was a first-class fuck-up, dude. So I built up the business, and me and my mom, we're just banging heads left and right. But one night, I hear a message. Same message that said, "Go help your mom." That same voice said, "I want you to let it go." So I literally gave a $500,000 a year business back to my mom like that. When you're a little kid on the monkey bars, remember when you were a little kid, Oliver, on the monkey bars on the playground?
Oh, yeah.
You can't go to the next monkey bar until you let go of the one that you're on, bro. And so many times we want to go to the next level, but we're not willing to let go of the things that are holding us back. You can't go to the next one until you let go of the one you're on, bro. So sometimes it's not we need to take a look at what we're holding on to so tight that's restricting us, that's weighing us down. So I let go. And I'm sitting there and I'm I'm a man of faith, right? I don't hide that. And I'm praying and I'm talking to God and I'm like, yo, bro, what do you want me to do? Because I can't sit. And I meditate every morning, dude. I won't talk to you unless I meditate. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's part of my everyday routine. And I'm meditating one morning and I get a vision. There's a nonprofit in South Carolina called Fire Pit Ranch. The mission of the nonprofit is they mentor young boys that grow up without fathers. I'm talking about some of these kids have seen horrific things, man. One kid watched his dad shoot his mom in the front seat of the car, point blank at 11 years old. And God says, I want you to ride your bicycle there. What? You want me to ride my bike to South Carolina? Yeah. You want to be one of the best speakers in the world? Let me see that you're willing to do whatever it takes. So 2 weeks ago, I literally rode my bike to South Carolina, 479 miles, 52,000 in elevation change over 9 days to go raise awareness for young boys that grow up without fathers. And during that ride, I realized that 9 days, you got a lot of time to think, dude. So I'm on the bike, I'm riding, and I realized that this bicycle is a metaphor for a successful and meaningful life. And it came to me like a ton of bricks, bro. Now follow me. You got the handlebars, right? They determine direction. It's important to have direction in life. 1 degree to the left or the right, I'm ending up in a completely different destination. It's important to have direction. And I'm looking at my frame. Now I know that you're a nutrition coach. It's important to have a good physical body, right? A good, strong physical frame. 1 crack in my frame, and I'm on the side of the road watching everybody else go through life. Then I'm looking at my pedals, man. Those are your desires. What do you want? The higher the vibrational frequency of our desires, the more power we're going to put to our pedals, bro. What do you want? Then I'm looking at the wheel. That's our support system. At any given point during that ride, all of my weight was on 1 or 2 spokes. And at any given time during your life, you're going to have to rely on 1 or 2 people, man. Then I'm looking at my tires. Those are filled with inspiration and motivation. Now you got to fill your tires up daily. Because if you ever try to ride on flat tires, bro, it makes it a little difficult. And then I'm looking at the gears. Successful people know which gear to be in at the appropriate time, man. You could be in a high gear, going up a steep hill, and you're just gonna not make it, or vice versa. And then I'm looking at the seat. It's important to support yourself, man. Very few people are going to believe in your dreams the way that you're going to believe in them. So you're going to have to support your dreams, man. Lastly, I'm looking at the brakes. Now, Oliver, in life, sometimes you're going up, sometimes you're going down, bro. Everybody and everything in the universe is subject to the law of rhythm. And that means that there's cycles. It's important to slow down and enjoy the ride, man. We get so fixated on the destination that we completely miss the entire journey sometimes. Now, my bicycle only goes forward. So stop backpedaling. I stopped living in the past. My bike only goes forward. And you haven't seen life until you've seen it at 8 miles an hour. So keep pedaling.
I absolutely love that analogy, dude. When you gave that during your speech, dude, it just like hit me like a brick wall. I just never really looked at it like that. And something I've been caught up with a lot in my past is just like always chasing that next destination, but yet I forget to slow down and actually enjoy it. Like my first 2 years of my self-development journey was straight like it was basically like, fuck you, get out of my way. I'm doing this. And I did not enjoy any of it. And I don't really have regrets, but if I could do something and go back, I would to enjoy that time more because it was already guaranteed that I was going to lose the weight, that I was going to kick the drug addictions and all these things. It was just, I didn't take the time to actually enjoy the process. And now, after reading the book, The Alchemist, I'm sure you've probably read that book or heard of it. It's about the journey. That is truly what life is about. And that's something that I've come to realize is just taking the time, especially now that, I have a significant other that I love spending time with. Like I take a step back and I separate myself from work and all the other shit. And I just enjoy being in the moment with her and doing cool things in life. And that's something I've just come to realize. And after hearing your speech again, like last couple weeks ago, it just really made me reflect on that and just, being present in the moment, taking a step back, slowing down, taking the time to smell the flowers, man. Life's fucking beautiful if you take the time to look for the beauty in it. Which goes into what I wanted to ask you about. And so you talk during your speech and you talk about how 50% is showing up, 40% is good attitude, and 10% is faith. Why is attitude so important? I know why, but I want you to explain to the listeners why it is so important.
Yeah, man. Attitude is broken down into your ideas, your actions, and your beliefs. Look, you can show up with a piss poor attitude. You're not getting anything done. Nothing positive, And it's so important because the law of attraction is actually a secondary law of the law of vibration. And the law of vibration says that there's a vibrational frequency to all things. Everything vibrates. Nothing stays the same. You have a vibrational frequency. I have a vibrational frequency. And when I'm in a positive attitude, I have a positive vibration. When I'm in a negative attitude, I'm in a negative vibration, right? And positive people attract other positive people. And a huge part of success and creating the life of your dreams is relationships. So you are going to attract what you want in life based on the vibrational frequency that you're in. It's as simple as that, bro. So important, dude. So important. Not so I can jump around and be a happy guy, so that I can attract what I want in my life. Look, I spent the first half of my life in a negative vibration, pissed off, frustrated, angry at everybody else, blaming everyone else, right? And I attracted some interesting characters. Yo. So now I just want to attract people like yourself.
Yeah, no, there's a reason I was so drawn to you at the event and stuff like that. And I noticed too, back when I was pissed off at the world and I played victim and all this pity me stuff, like I was drawing that type of attention and attraction in through people. And like at the time I didn't notice it, but now looking back, it's like, well, no shit, you were attracting drug addicts. No shit, you were attracting partners that you weren't going to end up with. Well, no shit, look at yourself in the mirror, man. What type of energy are you putting out? How are you vibrating? and so forth. So thank you for diving into that because it is the realest shit. Like the law of attraction is super real, and the law of vibration. The higher you vibrate, the more likely you're going to draw in higher vibration people. And I've noticed that like now, I don't remember the last time I've attracted someone that's a negative Nancy to come talk to me. Before it was all the time. Now I never have it, ever. No one that's negative comes and talks to me. So it's just something that I've noticed over time.
You actually repel them. You repel them. And I don't. It's important. It's important to recognize that I was unaware of my vibrational frequency. I had no idea. So once I became aware, a lot of things started to change. And I almost feel bad for people that wake up every day and hate their life. And just know that I've been there, and there's another way.
Oh, I've been there also. And so, if someone's waking up and they're hating their life every day, I know a lot of your talks and how your coaching goes, it's like a lot of it has to do with the environment. I want to hear like your preference on like why environment is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a product of our environment. On your attitude is going to be a reflection of your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to be a reflection of your environments, what you see, what you take in on a daily basis. If you are not intentional about what you allow to penetrate your conscious mind on a daily basis, the world will do it for you. And therefore, look, I can make a lot of money by making you think that you're not enough, and I have the answer. Right? And that's what society does. It makes you compare yourself to everyone else so that you feel like you're not enough, and therefore you think that the answer is in a physical purchase. So it's very important to guard your mind. You got to, I think it was James Allen that says, stand guard at the door of your mind. It's very, very important.
Yeah. No, I totally agree because when you let certain things into your mind, whether it be from like the news with all the bullshit going on, people get so caught up in all the shit that's happening in the world and they start forgetting about what's actually like important in their life, which is themselves. And so many people want to bitch and complain about all the politics and stuff like that when none of that even matters. I've quit listening to news. I quit listening to, certain podcasts that just talk about all the shit going on in the world because yes, you want to change the world, but truthfully, the only way you can actually make a change is by changing yourself. And the less time you spend listening to all this negative shit going on in the world, puts you in a better mindset, which is really going to help you out. And it's just going to help change your environment also. Like you can change your intermediate environment. You can't change what's happening across seas. You can't change what's happening on social media. And I think so many people just get caught up in the social media game in comparison and just thinking that, it's supposed to be this way compared to that way when, most of the shit people are posting on social media, except for people like me and you that just keep it 100% real. We're not hiding who we are. We aren't flaunting. We aren't flexing in front of Lamborghinis and doing all that other stuff that all these quote unquote coaches or life coaches are doing when they're just trying to, like you said, take your money. They make you feel the pain and they think that you have you can solve their problems, but ultimately like they have they're in no position to do that because they've never really been through what certain people have done. Like me and you have been through addiction. We've been through a lot of really bad shit in our lives. And I think that most people don't really understand that like there is a reason for coaches, but there's a lot of fake coaches and stuff out there. So I want to hear what the reason why you wanted to be the life coach. I know, but I want you to tell the like audience what values you bring as a life coach and why you do that.
I let me go back to environment real quick and then I'll answer the question. I always take things back to to universal law, right? So I have a garden in my backyard, right? Now, in order for my garden to bear fruit, I have to make sure that the environment is conducive for growth, right? Now, if my soil is too wet or it's too dry or it doesn't have the proper nutrients or we doesn't have sunlight, right? If there's toxicity in my soil, the plants are not going to grow. And that's why the environment that I plant my plants in is so important. The same is true with human beings. The environment that you are surrounding yourself in is going to be the catalyst for your rate of growth. And that's very important. I don't consider myself a quote unquote coach. Just because I don't know. I think that, you know, the industry is saturated with, I don't know. I'm not going to go into that one. I just know that I'm a guy that has experienced some adversity in his life, and you know, people come to me. I never really started to market this. I never marketed being a speaker. It really just came to me, and you know, I spoke and helped people that are on drugs for 8 years before I ever even knew that you could earn a living doing it. And once I found out that you could, I took a look at the industry and I said, well, I'm way better than these cats. And, you know, give me the microphone. What? You want to hear a story? I got one for you. And that's how it happened, dude. Never really set out to do it.
I love that answer, man. That is incredible. And that's how a coach should be. You know, it's the people that are like, oh, I want to become a coach. And they, you know, they take these courses and they start, you know, doing all these things because they want to coach people. But if you don't have the experiences yourself and you don't have, you know, the rough past that you've been able to overcome, I truthfully don't think you should even, you know, consider being a coach. And your calling to become a coach was because of your past and the things you were able to overcome and your incredible story. So if there is people out there that, you know, think they should or shouldn't be a coach, I mean, you know, look at your life. Like, what have you overcome? What values are you able to provide? Like, you provided value for over 8 years, helping drug addicts overcome their addictions and doing all that and speaking to them. And then your opportunity came and you seized that opportunity because that is what this world needed at the time. And God basically told you and showed you all the signs. He gave you the opportunities to do that. So it just really goes to show that most people, like, your calling, if you aren't a believer in God or the universe, everyone that listens to the show knows I'm a huge believer, and my faith and how the universe works is he will tell you what you need to do. All you have to do is listen. And that's where, like, you know, the meditation and stuff comes in every day. I'm sure that, you know, you hear something that's like, okay, well, I should probably be doing this. And I'm curious, you know, when you go through your meditations and, you know, you hear that voice talking to you, is it something that you try to take action on right away? Or is it you wait until it's, you know, continues to reoccur in your, you know, meditations?
It depends on the what's necessary. So a lot of times, when I'm meditating, I it's really just helping me process either the day before or be intentional about the day I want to have. Um, you know, every once in a while I'll get a serious nudge in the direction that I'm supposed to go. Um, in the case of the bike ride, I received that message 6 months before I actually left. So there was a lot of preparation time. But you know, if there's something that's urgent that I should act on right away, then I'll take the appropriate measures.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you talked a lot about like how self-image is so important because I remember back in the day when I was overweight, I was a drug addict. I literally avoided mirrors at all costs because I saw right through the bullshit. I saw the things that, the holes in my game, who I was becoming. I wanted to avoid that at all costs because I knew that I was going to have to change. And I wasn't quite ready to deal with the pain of the change at the time. And I want you to talk about and explain like why self image is so important to the listeners.
Oh my gosh. It's extremely important. There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And essentially, Dr. Maxwell Maltz was he was a plastic surgeon, and he would help people that were completely deformed, whether they were in a fire or whatever the case may be. So there was one patient where his face had been completely deformed as a result of a bad accident. And Dr. Maxwell Maltz, fixed him, right? Gave him, a good looking appearance. But the guy, when he still looked in the mirror, he still saw that deformed person, even though it wasn't there anymore, right? And our results in our life are directly predicated to what we think that we're worth. Your income, where you live, your life partner, your weight. It's all a result of your standards. And you want better results? It's very simple. Just raise your standards. And your standards are predicated on who you think you are and what you think you're worth, man. It's very interesting. And look, there's certain times where I'll be in a room full of, my biggest fear in life is, it's weird. It's a weird fear. Rich, educated white people with old power. I get in there and I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I'm that homeless heroin addict that had a bad past, and that's why I did that exercise with the inner child, because until you dress that, it's very difficult to achieve the dream that you want.
Yeah, that exercise, that is what made me tear up and cry a little bit in every person in that room because I don't remember the last time I did touch in with my inner child. And I just want to say thank you for that, man, because now that when I came home, I tried touching in multiple times since, that conference with my inner child, just to, find the internal peace and just to dig out that inner child and realizing what I used to enjoy and how happy I used to be with certain things. And that's brought me fulfillment and joy within that. I know with us being high achievers, we have very high standards for ourselves and the people around us. What do you do when you catch yourself or catch your standards starting to slip? Is there some sort of process you go through to check yourself? I know a lot of it comes from just creating awareness. Like the more you're aware of yourself and your disciplines and your daily actions, like the easier it is to check yourself when those standards start to slip.
And that's why it's so important to keep high quality people around you. That's why your network and your inner circle is so important, because look, I'll fall off, but I won't let you down. I'll let myself down, but I won't let you down. So I check in with them and they hold me accountable. And that's how I keep that in check.
Yeah, that's awesome. That goes back into why your environment is so important, because I know when I was hanging around the wrong crowd, I was doing the wrong things. Even when I first started hanging around the wrong people, I wasn't doing the drugs and stuff like that. But over time, the more time I spent with them, I started to conform to the patterns that they did. And which, it talks about in the Bible, like, do not conform to the patterns of this world. And I think so many people just get so stuck and just, they get uncomfortable, because I know when I made the transition in my self-development journey, there was like the grace period that we call like no man's land, where you just feel like you don't have anyone, you're alone. You stop hanging out with your old friends, you quit doing the old things you used to do, and you just feel alone. And I feel like so many people struggle with that period of time, even though it can be very short. If you find like, certain tribes that I'm a part of, like First Form, Arte, and all those other things, where it has those people that are going to hold you to that higher standards. And I think a lot of people really struggle with getting pulled back before they actually find that next tribe. And then they just get stuck there the rest of their lives. And they think that deep down, they don't have that, sense that they're worth it. And that's what comes back into your self image and things like that. And I just know that the world needs more people that are striving for better, which is why it's phenomenal that you're speaking, like you do speaking engagements, because there's a lot of people there that was their first like self development event, and Brad hosted an amazing event. It was I've been to a few of them, and that was like the most like personal one because it wasn't so big that it was just like a bunch of big name, like crazy huge name speakers giving you a bunch of shit and then selling you a course after. It was like he didn't want you really taking notes during it. He gave you time afterwards to write, and he gave you a prompt to write about and how you're going to take actionable steps. And like I read that thing every day and making sure I'm following through with the things that I told myself I was going to do, which is things like, checking in with my inner child and doing all of these things. And it's just been incredible since that Unite and Conquer event for myself personally. And I know a lot of other people are feeling the same way. I'm curious to see what your takeaways were from the event, being a speaker and also being a guest there, listening to the other speakers.
Um, it was great. As a speaker, it was a great environment. Like you said, it was intimate. It wasn't just crazy over the top, and it wasn't what I call a rah-rah, right? So it wasn't just pump everybody up. Like all the speakers gave real value. They gave real action plans. You know, real game plans that you can follow, that you can get new results in your life. And I was just honored to be there. There was good energy in there. There was good love. It was amazing. I'm excited for what my man does next year. I'm already planning like, let's blow it, let's do it again. Let's go. Incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Yeah, good stuff. I'm so glad you came, bro.
Dude, it was phenomenal. I'm grateful to be there, and I had a blessing. It was like, so you have ever heard of people playing video games and stuff with a bunch of buddies, and then they over the years, and they end up meeting for the first time in person?
Yeah.
So Brad's basically planted a seed for a mastermind group called Kaizen that me and Parker and a bunch of other my boys that have been meeting for the last 4 months on Zoom every week, talking to each other. And these guys all became my best friends. Like I talked to these guys more than anything, and at this event, it brought us all together for the first time in person, and it was such an incredible experience to be able to meet my best friend that I had been talking to 6 months prior every day on the phone or FaceTime, just talking about what we're doing, what we're working on, and just like it's hard for me because I don't all the people I used to hang around, I don't hang around them anymore. So having that connection with Parker and Brian, like just getting to see those guys in person really just like open up the world to me, because it just gave me a sense of fulfillment that these are actually my brothers that truly care about me, and just be able to connect in person. And then we still are meeting every Thursday, but now we're looking forward to the next time we can see each other in person. We've already talked about what we're going to do for Unite and Conquer next year and all these other things. So it was just, besides, the amazing event, just the relationships I've been able to develop because of the seeds Brad's planted, and just the amount of help he's, given me and all these guys over the last, 6 months to a year. It's just been incredible. So I'm truly grateful for my brother Brad. I'm actually going to have him on the podcast next week. We're recording an episode, so super stoked about that. But that goes into getting it wrapped up. So at the end of every show, I basically asked the guest, what book had the biggest impact on your life?
Ooh, man. That's a great question. That's a tough one. I want to say that it was this one. This is The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles. So
What's
I like to read dead masters, guys that are no longer here. Wallace D. Wattles, Napoleon Hill, obviously, is a big name. Thomas Troward, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, James Allen, Viktor Frankl. These guys wrote incredible books about personal development in the 19th century, 20th century. They didn't do it for the money. They did it for the passion, for the true sense of giving back what they had discovered. And this book basically, it really opened my eyes to how I should be thinking in order to attract, everything that I want. So really good. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles.
Love it. Yeah, I'm a huge Napoleon Hill fan. Think and Grow Rich. And I just finished reading Outwitting the Devil. I don't know if you've read that, but phenomenal book. I absolutely like. So eye-opening, the fact that it was written in the 1930s,
Yep,
but yet it's so
absolutely.
applicable. Think and
Yep.
Grow Rich, right there. Yeah, it's so applicable to today's day and age, even though it was literally written almost 100 years ago. It's just super wild to think about, all the things that they went through back then compared to now. And I think with all of those amazing authors you had just talked about, I feel like 99% of the self-development books today are just newer versions of those.
Yeah. I mean, I think James Clear, Atomic Habits, that's some new information. That's some new research. But everybody, even the guys that I mentioned, the principles all come from the Bible, right? They do. It's just putting it in a way that, is easier to understand, I think. Check this guy out too. If you like Think and Grow Rich, my mentor, Paul Martinelli, he wrote an epilogue to that, the missing 3 chapters. The missing chapters to Think and Grow Rich. And what he talks about is forgiveness, tithing, and love, which are, they're missing from there. So Paul Martinelli, check him out. He's a product of that book, Think and Grow Rich. So good stuff.
I love that. Well, I just want to say, Wesley, thank you once again, man, for not only the amazing speech and what you're doing in this world and truly helping other people, but also for joining us today and giving the audience an amazing, story. I will make sure to attach all of the places you guys can connect with him. Where can I get in touch with you?
Yeah, my website, Westley Morris, WESTLEY MORRIS. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or you could just call me 610-554-5533.
Awesome. Well, I love to hear, brother. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. Make sure that you share this show with someone because ultimately I don't run ads or anything like that. And I never plan to because I want this to just be straight valuable. I'm trying to impact millions of people's lives throughout